Mr. Black, Mr. Watson, I only have 5 minutes. Bear with me. I have an observation and one question. My observation is cross-current with some of my colleagues on this committee and the process that has been adopted by the Joint Inquiry staff and basically acquiesced to by the leadership of this committee. I have not acquiesced to it. My concern and frustration is that while unintended, one of the results of this investigation has been to demoralize our intelligence community. These are the people, as you have pointed out, whose job it is to detect, deter terrorist acts against our citizens. The catch-22 of this process, it seems to me, is that is that in an attempt to learn our deficiencies, what went wrong prior to 9/11, and to fix it, and to provide the public transparency through public hearings, not to mention the unfortunate leaks that we have seen, we have been the source, if not the instigator, of what I call gotcha charges and also gotcha headlines. These narrow and specific insinuations and charges are media incendiary. They're controversial and they're political. And we have seen a media frenzy as a result and increasing frustration and concern and anger on the part of the American people. Where was the smoking gun? I say this knowing that mistakes were made. Hindsight is 20/20. We have an obligation for oversight and to ask the tough questions. I still believe the USS Cole is a microcosm of the challenges that we face, and I don't think that was handled right. But my point is, if we are all to assess responsibility, if not blame, that responsibility should not be selective. The responsibility for 9/11 also lies with the Congress, past and current policymakers, and yes, more comprehensive reporting by the nation's press. Yet our process here is to pose questions to you that I define as pejorative in nature. Your choice, your only choice and response is the old while I answer. While I agree with you, sir, while I think we needed more resources, while we needed more analytical ability, let me point out that you're in a catch-22. You cannot provide any answers in full context to show there has been no smoking gun because the full context is classified unless it's leaked, and should it be made public, it would compromise sources and endanger lives. My preference, shared by some on this committee, not a majority obviously, was not to stage public hearings until the investigation of the Joint Inquiry staff was complete, and then report, then go public. But here we are. My question is the same I had from Monday's behind the scene witnesses. We are at war. The work of those in the intelligence community is crucial to the safety of our American people. One of the problems we face is risk aversion. I worry about the morale and the esprit de corps of our intel community. Before I ask you to say how is your morale and how you're feeling about this and what is the morale of the community, the question referred to you earlier, Mr. Black, was from the Joint Inquiry staff briefing book. Now, you remember the question. I think it was asked by Senator Durbin, and I certainly don't mean to be pointing any fingers at him. A book, by the way, that was provided to this member as of this morning, which is standard operating procedure. Had I wanted it earlier, I would have had to gone to the chairman for permission to speak to the staff, which is a little unique for this member in terms of the Senate and serving on any committee. You've heard the questions. Let me tell you the rest of the story. After the question, there is a suggestion, if not an instruction, to members, and it is, Mr. Black will probably dissemble on this point and simply say that the press statement is accurate insofar as the total number, et cetera, et cetera. Next question. And then there's some instruction. Mr. Black will probably dissemble on this point, too. I have a definition of dissemble from the dictionary. It says to hide under a false appearance, to put on the appearance of, to simulate, to put on a false appearance, conceal facts, intentions, or feeling under some pretense. You're almost on trial, sir. You're almost on trial. I have to apologize, for that and for this book. You have my apologies. It's only me. I'm not speaking for the rest of the committee. For the unintended consequences of what I believe is an Inspector General runaway train. I don't like it. And for me, I want you to apologize, Senator Pat Roberts, to your people at in the FBI and the CI, which I think is, I won't call it shameful, but it's damn close. How's the morale down at your place?
Senator, you really made my day. This is so unfortunate. There's no one that I know that does counterterrorism that would dissemble to representative of the American people. I gotta tell you, something's getting out of hand here. I work for the American people. I'm a big boy. I gotta tell you, I'm responsible for my people. And why do you think I came in here starting with, pride for my people? Things happen. People die in war. No one regrets it more than us. But dissemble, mislead our people, it's like living a nightmare. What's going on here? I better stop. Thank you.
Mr. Watson?
I think it's been a long process since 9/11 and the finger pointing and looking at we should have done this or you should have done that. And the responsibility of that clearly rests with myself. I don't duck any of those issues or those questions. Individuals that work down in those sections and the agents out in the field that work these problems are absolutely the best we have. They should be supported, and it's a disappointment.
I thank you both. I think with the red light on, I probably said enough. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.